All right, so I made this a separate video, but I'm just doing the odds on the practice. So it says find the amplitude and period in radians, then sketch using radians. It does expect you to label at least 5 ordered pairs. Where's my pen? In one period. Some also have a reflection because I added negatives to some of the problems. So it's a little hard to see, but make sure you're doing them as reflections. And one more reminder to find the quarter points. Okay, so it's y equals a, and then the function sine or cosine bx, amplitude is absolute value of a, the period is 2 pi over b, and the quarter points are the period divided by 4 to find those, and then you keep adding that on. All right, so for number 1, this is a sine graph. So the shape is going to start at the midline like this. It has an a value out here of 1, so the amplitude is just 1. This is a weird one to start with, but this is the same as 1/3 theta. So dividing by 3 is 1/3, so b is 1/3. So the period is 2 pi divided by 1/3, which would be 2 pi times 3 over 1, or 6 pi. Okay, so the amplitude is 1. The period is 6 pi. Now, that means the quarter points are going to be every 6 pi over 4, or 3 pi over 2. And then you're going to keep adding those on. So you're going to add another 3 pi over 2, another 3 pi over 2, and another 3 pi over 2 to find all 4 of them. The first one is going to be at 3 pi over 2. The second one is going to be at 6 pi over 2. 6 pi over 2 is 3 pi. The next one is going to be at 9 pi over 2, which would be 4.5. And then the next one would be 3, 6, 9, 12 pi over 2, which would be 6 pi. That's how we get out to the period of 6 pi. All right, so this was a sine graph, which means it starts at the origin and it finishes at 6 pi. It's halfway there at 3 pi. So it goes up, has a maximum, minimum, and finishes at 6 pi. And you're welcome to do it in the negative direction as well. 1.5, 3, another 1.5 would be 4.5, and 6 pi. But all you need to list as ordered pairs are these going in the positive direction. So the first one was at 0, 0. The next one is 3 pi over 2, 1. The next one is right here, 3 pi 0. The next one was 3, 6, 9 pi over 2. I want to stay. And that one was down at -1. And then 3, 6, 9, 12 pi over 2 is 6 pi, which is where it finishes one cycle. Okay, yep, that was tricky. I'm going to do the rest of the odds with you, so stay with me here. Number 3, again, is stretched because this is the same as 4 cosine 1/2 theta. So A is 4, so the amplitude equals 4. So it's going to have maximums up here at 4 and minimums down here at -4. Okay, that is a vertical stretch or amplitude change. And then the B is 1/2. So 2 pi, the normal period, divided by 1/2 would be 2 pi times 2 over 1, or 4 pi. And that's the normal, or that's our new period. It should finish one cycle by 4 pi. Okay? The quarter points are the period divided by 4, which, lucky for us, means they're going to happen every pi. So it's going to be pi plus another pi plus another pi plus another pi. So that's where those quarter points are going to happen. All right, and finally the cosine graph, remember, starts at the maximum, goes to the minimum, and back to the maximum. So we're going to start up here, and it's going to finish out at 4 pi, which would be kind of the end of the arrow here. And it's going to be back there. Halfway in between at 2 pi, it's going to hit the minimum. And in between is where it's hitting those quarter points. Kind of give it a curve here, like it's a fourth of a circle smushed. A fourth of a circle going this way. A fourth of a circle that's been stretched this way, and a fourth of a circle this way. And then it's doing the same thing in the negative. Whoops, mine got a little carried away. Whoa. Okay. All right, then we're going to list our quarter points. Our quarter points, because it's a cosine, it starts at the max, so we have 0, 4. The next one is here at pi 0. Then it's down to the minimum at 2 pi negative 4. Then 3 pi, it's back at 0. And at 4 pi, it's back at the maximum of 4. Sorry, didn't write that very well. All right. You're probably going to have to pause this video along the way. Number 5. This is supposed to be saying, I had to try to type that negative in there. I wanted this to be y equals negative 3 sine 4 theta. So A is negative 3, but that means the amplitude, remember, is the absolute value of that. The amplitude is positive 3. Don't ever give me a negative amplitude. The amplitude is positive 3. The shape, though, because it is a negative sine graph, it's going to start at the midline, but it's going to go down first. It's reflected. All right, and then we have that the period is, the B is 4. So the period is 2 pi normally, but it's divided by 4 here, which means it is finishing a whole cycle by 2 pi over 4 or pi over 2. So it's going to finish here. It's going to go all the way up and down and finish by here. So we're going to have to throw in some little quarter points along the way. The quarter points, remember, are the period divided by 4. So pi over 2 divided by 4 is pi over 2 times 1/4, which would be pi over 8. And then you keep adding that on. So it's 1 pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, 3 pi over 8, 4 pi over 8, which is pi over 2, the period. Okay, so we need to reduce those as we go here. All right, so this shape, starting here, amplitude of 3 means it's going to go up to 3 and down to negative 3. But it starts here and finishes here, so halfway in between there, it's going down first. Now, I find these very hard to draw when they give us graph paper like this. And so therefore, starting with possibly the next one, I am going to graph these without graph paper because I don't like trying to fit them onto these little grids. I'd rather just draw it and label the ordered pairs. Okay, and it would go this way and do the same thing, etc. It's a really bad graph. So the first ordered pair was 0, 0, and then it went down, and the quarter point was pi over 8, and it was down to -3 because of the amplitude change. And then another pi over 8, but 2 pi over 8 reduces to pi over 4, which is this grid line right here. And at that grid line, it was supposed to be hitting at 0. And then it went up another pi over 4, I'm sorry, another pi over 8, which is 3 pi over 8. I'm just going to write them over here. And it's up at 3. And then the next pi over 8 is 4 pi over 8, which reduces to pi over 2, and then it's back to the midline, which is 0. Those are the 5 ordered pairs you needed. You could keep going, or you could go in the negative direction if you were to list some more. But all you have to do for me is 5 ordered pairs in one period. All right. Oh, yay. No graphs this time. So I can stretch this out how I want. So we have an amplitude of 4, no negative to worry about. So the shape for a cosine that is positive will be max to max like that. B is 3, so the period is 2 pi over 3. But that makes our quarter points tricky. 2 pi over 3 divided by 4, or 2 pi over 3 times 1/4 would make them every 2 pi over 12, or pi over 6. So we're going to go 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, okay, etc. We don't need that many. We only need 4 of them. And some of them are going to reduce. Actually, all of these are going to reduce. This is going to be 1/3, 3/6 would be 1/2, 4/6 would be 2/3, which is where we need it to end. Okay? So, wow, that's not straight, Hofbauer. I'm going to draw a cosine graph, which means it starts at its max. Now, I'm just going to draw it. I'm going to draw that, keep going, and finish. And it's supposed to finish by 2 pi over 3. Do you see how much easier this is without the graph paper? So it starts at an amplitude of 4, and it should have a minimum down at -4. Now it said we're supposed to call these quarter points pi over 6, 0. This one was 0, 4. This one would be 2 pi over 6s, or a pi over 3, down at -4. The next one is 4 pi over 6s. I'm sorry, 3 pi over 6s, which is a pi over 2, 0. And then 4 pi over 6s would be 2/3. And that's up at 4. So these reduced to pi over 6, pi over 3, pi over 2, and 2 pi over 3. All right, hope you got it so that you can do some of these on your own now. All right, I have one more that I'm going to sketch with you. This is supposed to say y equals -1/2 sine 3 theta. So A is -1/2, but that makes the amplitude 1/2, not negative. The negative indicates that we have a negative sign or reflected sine graph, which would start the midline, go down first, and finish at the midline. All right, the B is 3, so our period is 2 pi over 3. But that makes the quarter points a little complicated. The quarter points would be 2 pi over 3 divided by 4, or 2 pi over 3 times 1/4, which is going to reduce to pi over 6. 2 pi over 12 or pi over 6, which is actually what we just did, right? 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, which reduces to pi over 3. 3/6 reduces to 1/2, and 4/6 is 2/3. So there's our quarter points. All right. Love not having graph paper because this is a tiny little amplitude of 1/2, but I don't have to make it tiny. I can label 1/2 up here and down here if I want. All right, it is supposed to go down first. So I have, it went down, back, up, back. Wow, those are supposed to be the same length. I'll try to fix that for you, because this half should be the same size as this half. So let's see if we can make that look a little better. Does that look a little better? All right, I might need to move my 1/2 down a little. It's looking a little low. Okay, so we had 0, 0. When 1 quarter point was pi over 6, and that one's down to -1/2. Then the next quarter point is 2 pi over 6, which reduces to pi over 3. That one's back at 0. 3/6 would reduce to pi over 2. And that one is at the height of 1/2. And then we're at 4/6 or 2/3, which was the period. Finished one cycle. So we could keep going in both directions or keep going this way. Okay, it doesn't really end. The domain is all real numbers. It could keep going. I'm just only making you draw one cycle. All right, this only asks that you give the amplitude and the period. I might do quarter points just to help you practice a little. Here the amplitude would be 1/8. A is 1/8. Here, A is actually -1, but that means the amplitude is +1. And here A is -6, but that still means the amplitude would be +6. All right, we good with amplitudes? The period is 2 pi over the B value of 5. So the period on this one, remember B here is 1/2, so 2 pi divided by 1/2 is really 2 pi times 2 over 1, so the period is 4 pi. And this one has a 7, that's lovely. So the period would be 2 pi over 7. Now, if you had to do quarter points, you'd have to divide all these by 4 and then keep adding them on. This is the only one that would turn out nice. The quarter points would be pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and 4 pi. All right, I'm not going to do the quarter points on these other ones because I'm never going to give you a graph with fifths or sevenths. All right, so there's your video. Now you do the evens.